I've been thinking a lot about aphorisms. Those witty one or two liners that promise to convey an eternal truth. I'm sure you've heard some of the classics that were published in Ben Franklin's Old Richard's Almanac. Early to bed and early to rise makes one healthy, wealthy, and wise. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Of course, there is the most common aphorism that is misattributed to Scripture itself. God helps those who help themselves. What are some of your favorite aphorisms? They don't have to be Ben Franklinisms. Think about them in this moment. In 1990, Accessories retail stores opened nationwide. We are all probably more than familiar with the motivational posters they have created, then the various spoofs of those posters. Then there's the e-card phenomenon that publishes its own version of aphorisms that we can find online or in our email. The point of both of these things is that as such statements became common, perhaps all too common, they became punchlines. The format of their accessory posters has been spoofed ad nauseum. The truth of it all is that most aphorisms can be and should be taken apart. Their truth is far more limited than they claim. The statement I have been thinking a lot about lately is the old gem, no one ever wished on their deathbed that they had spent more time at work or in the office. Certainly there is truth in such a statement that can be addressed to someone who works 80 hours a week or claims to work 80 hours a week. When one's work-life balance is out of kilter, it's not a bad place to begin one's meditation. The thing is that the statement is not always true. Maybe some folks who linger on their deathbed are filled with regrets. They did not spend more time at work. Think about those who have lived in poverty. Think about those who have been unemployed or underemployed more often than they have been meaningfully employed. Think about those who feel the burden of debt they are passing on, not one. These folks may not wish they spent more time in the meaningless jobs that they had, but they may wish that they had the opportunity for more meaningful work. I think about the folks like the men and women who work in the Coast Guard, who serve as EMTs and paramedics. There are doctors and surgeons who literally save lives. Think about medical researchers, those who might be so close to finding a cure that they may wish on their deathbed that they had one more hour, one more day, one more year spend in the office finishing their task. Another group of folks who I don't think this aphorism fits, that's farmers. When your home is on the farm, when you live where you work, how do you know when your workday starts and ends, your family life begins? Life is wrapped up in a rhythm of work and family that's very different from those who live in suburban homes and commute to their offices in the city. I never cease to be amazed by the lives of small family livestock farmers. They seem to be married to their farm. I do think marriage is the right metaphor. While the suburban families are planning vacations where they will go this summer, those farmers wake up every day, feed their animals, care for them. They can't afford to be away. Certainly there are some farmers who are able to hire help and are able to get away, and maybe as the kids get older and take care of things. For the most, they live a life in one place in ways that are very different from the rest of us. One can certainly understand the appeal of the mythic farmer, and Paul Harvey's God made a farmer speech, and why it was that Ram Trucks appropriated that speech. These are people who might wish for one more hour of daylight, one more day before the harvest, so that the farm they leave is a little in better shape for the next generation. The truth is, we could have taken any popular aphorism in our culture and pulled it apart. They all collapse at a certain point. We begin to look at them through the eyes of those for whom their truth does not speak. They lose their punch. Truth behind this comment about deathbeds and offices is trying to tell us something about our lives. It is important to recognize what it does not tell us. It is important to remind ourselves that it does not speak for all. We don't have to throw it out. We can see behind its shortcomings the truth that it might speak to us, regardless of the differences in our lives. Truth of the saying of this aphorism is the same truth that our text in the letter to the Corinthians is driving at. It is the reminder to choose that which is eternal over that which is fleeting. It is a reminder to look at the eternal weight of glory and not this slight and momentary affliction. I wonder if we will find that by approaching the idea from those moments when folks chose the slight and fleeting instead of that which is weighty, filled with glory, might illumine the point for us in a different way. I would like to look at Abraham's grandsons. Abraham was the father of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. He was also the father of Isaac and Ishmael. Isaac's wife Rebekah gave birth to twin boys, Jacob and Esau. The story is told in Genesis that one day Esau came home and was hungry. Jacob had cooked the stew, and Esau asked for some stew. So far, the story is incredibly unremarkable. It must have happened like this countless times in their lives. This particular day, Jacob says, if you want some of my stew, you will have to trade me your birthright. Esau proceeds to trade off his birthright for a bowl of stew. It must have been one really good stew. The story remains a classic example of those who trade that which is of immeasurable value for that which is cheap, fleeting. There are other stories, of course, but they are more ambiguous. When Jack traded his cow for some magic beans, he traded the fleeting for the weight of glory. What about the story of Adam and Eve? What did they trade away when they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Did they know it was a trade? Did they know that it would cost them? Did they know that nothing in life is free? That everything we take will cost us something? How often have we traded the eternal weight of glory for a bowl of stew? I know I have countless times. Sometimes the stew was good, and for that fleeting moment, it was worth it. Other times, stew is not so good. But even in that moment, it wasn't worth it. Our text reminds us to choose what is unseen over that which is seen. Which is really what the aphorism we've been critiquing was after all along. It invites us to choose to value what does not show up in the monthly report. It invites us to choose what does not get listed on either the accounts receivable or the accounts payable. We are encouraged to choose to spend our lives, spend our time and energy in ways that elude quantification. What is unseen? I would suggest that freedom is unseen. We can see people who are free. We can see movements that are free. We can witness people being free. But freedom itself remains unseen. Even when it is revealed, it is unseen. What else fits into this category? Certainly love is near the top of the list. Once again, we can see people who are in love. We can see people fall in love. We can witness loving actions. All the while, love itself remains unseen, beyond our vision. Let's add to the list those things that remain beyond visibility. Certainly the cardinal virtues of an earlier letter to the Corinthians, faith, hope, and love, are out of sight. They are not seen in our passage either, although I would argue that they are present and that this passage makes most sense when it is read as being about faith, hope, and love. If we cannot see faith, hope, and love, if we cannot see freedom and peace, if we cannot see truth, justice, and mercy, what does it look like to choose the unseen over the seen? Some would argue that it is to choose heaven over earth. Some would argue that it is to find joy in eternal salvation and to look past, beyond, through one's afflictions. Others would argue that the promise of pie in the sky, by and by, that ignores real suffering here and now, is just as problematic. Anything that suggests that our bodies do not matter and that love and justice are not important here and now is to misread this text. Choose the unseen is to choose faith, hope, love, justice, mercy, truth, and all that is seen only through that which embodies it. Let me make the point as clearly as I can. We as human beings only realize the unseen through that which we can see. We can only encounter the eternal within our historic lives. The absolute and universal are only a part of our relative lives in limited ways. We think and feel, we we find faith and hope in our bodies, not in some disembodied spiritual reality. We cannot experience the eternal except within the limits of our life. I cannot experience love unbound, unseen, or infinite. I experience love when I love my wife and daughter. I experience love when I love my family and friends. I can experience love when I love the people of God. When I love all who share this planet with me. But even expanded to these limits, is still a finite realization of an unseen infinity. Let me close with this. Some of you might struggle to claim a faith that is absolute and without uncertainty. I'd like to remind you this morning that your faith is never supposed to be uncertain. You're never supposed to hold your faith that way. It was always meant to be a human faith. Faith born and sustained within the limits of your humanity. Faith is never meant to be grasping of the absolute. On the other hand, there are those of you who have forgotten that we are choosing to value the unseen. You are so certain that you have seen it, have it all figured out. I would suggest to you that you might be missing something if your faith is too readily visible. For those of you who have found the balance, who are able to look at what cannot be seen and endure those slight and momentary afflictions as preparation for an eternal wing of glory, I would ask you to guide the rest of us, to show us the way, so that all of our lives may be marked more and more by that which cannot be seen, by an eternal faith.